get the enrichedness into the hair. And then I'm going to just put a little light kick into it, just so I get that little bit of movement. I'm going for quite a commercial look today, but I'm going to do it with a quite contemporary way. I'm going to use some interior disconnection. So the way I've head mapped the hair off, I've isolated the hair just from behind the ear on both sides. So that's how I started the section, just literally curved the section right the way through. Then I took my next section, took it in line with the mastoid, cutting right across the parietal ridge into the recession. Repeated that on the other side, and then just isolated two triangular sections in line with a rectangular section on the top. Now this isn't complicated, and there's a real reason why the importance of these sections. These sections is going to commercialise the look for me. So from the front, I'm going to have that little bit of weight coming down, so it's not going to be too slim. Okay, the whole idea of this is I'm doing a very, very commercialised look on a quite contemporary look. It's going to be a little bit textured, a little bit mullety in the end, but she wants quite a short fringe in the front. So we're going to work that word mullet. God, we keep using it, don't we, at the moment, as hairdressers, mullet. But I'm just going to be overlayering the hair through the top, disconnecting these two areas and taking these panels down. So I'm going to start with the back. I'm going to use a layering technique this time. So with layering, obviously I'm going to be working outside my fingers and elevating the hair higher. I'm going to start, now the length's not too long, so it's going to allow me just to work pretty square through this underneath. I'm not going to have to over direct the hair too much, just because the hair's not that, it's not that long. I don't need to protect that much length. I want the layering to work through the shape. So my first section is going to come through the centre, my profile, if you like, just come through the middle. She's got, as you can see, quite a substantial hairline, which allows me to go quite short through this area. You know, you always have to check that with your clients and models. See how high the hairline actually is, because if it's high, then you're going to hollow out a lot of that shape through the baseline. If it's got some substance to it, which I know her hair's quite fine, but it's quite low. So although I'm going for a textured look, so I'm allowing myself to take quite a bit of weight out of the hair. So I'm going to start first through my profile. I'm going to elevate the hair up, which is going to maintain weight through the edge. But I'm going to take lots and lots of weight out internally. So first of all, being very careful, I don't want to see the skin stretch here. I think she's got quite a loose scalp. Just going to make sure her head's not too far down either. I don't want to lay it too far into the ends. So just elevating the hair up, and I'm going to just knock that weight out of the centre. Working underneath where the O-bone is, being very careful and being very conscious not to stretch the scalp, not using too much tension. Let's have a look how that's perfect for me. As you can see, my first guide sitting above the occipital, so I'm closing down and creating a very square format through the back area. Now I'm going to isolate just half of that section and move it out of the way, because I'm not working on that area now, so I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to start on my left hand side and start to pivot my sections, taking triangular shape, towards the left hand side. Now I'm maintaining my body shape by protein shakes and weightlifting, no, not really, by making sure I stay on the right hand side, and I'm going to now push the hair onto its base and follow my guide, working directly out from the hair, the head shape, where the head grows. So no over direction. Being very conscious and very aware of the tension. Now that's going to start working, as you can see already, working with the head shape. You see when we start working through this left hand side, I think the most important thing is I've maintained the length, not taking too much weight out of that area. And each section now is going to pivot through. And I'm going to push up onto the base. I think you might want to just pick up on this, Alex, because it's very clean, this line, you see, the way we're working. So each guide, I'm not taking large sections, keeping it very clean, so I'm able to follow the work very easily. And that I won't go off scale and take too much hair off or miss my guide. So always the sections coming from the same place, which is the center, and they're working out. As we're working through, we're just avoiding the previous section, so I'm able to work clean onto the base.
We've got a few people tuning in. Anybody that's watching, feel free to add any questions that you want to ask Andy. Tap them into the comment section and I will read them out for him and he'll do his best to answer for you.
By the way, we're joined here by Mr. Alex Hardy, a dear friend of mine. He's videoing today. So obviously, you know, like he said, let him know anything you need to know and he'll get questions straight to me. Much better, you know, Facebook Live works much better when it's an interactive experience. We're here to obviously share knowledge and share what our ideas are. And, you know, please challenge us, ask us questions, you know, why I'm doing this, why, you know, we'll be talking through it quite steadily anyway. But anything you want to know, please, just let us know. So as you can see now, still maintaining the weight through the edge. So nothing being removed from the exterior line, and just working very cleanly. Now we're working a push and pull technique today, so in other words I'm working from behind my section and I'm pushing the hair onto its base. This is basically controlling my direction and pushing the hair and elevating in the correct area. And when I do the other side, I'm going to work with a pulling technique where I'm going to pull the hair onto its base and my body position will still retain on the right hand side. Now that one side's done there, I think you can start to see some of that interior shape now. You can start to see what happened. It's closed down and reduced. Obviously when you elevate, you've got to think what the hair is going to do. When it sits to its natural position, it's going to lay flat. So I'm reducing and elongating the shape, but still maintaining a very commercial element here, still maintaining the line.
So Scott Johnson's watching and he's asked, morning, are you over-directing anywhere or keeping the section to the previous?
At the moment, no. I'm literally just working on the base, Scott. So as I said, I've pushed onto the base. This side I'm now going to elevate and pull the hair onto myself, pull my hair onto the base. So there's actually no over direction. The only over direction is that's created is the fact that I'm elevating the hair away from the way the hair would naturally sit. So I'm elevating high. But as it turns out, vertically, it's on the base. Just directing the hair out from where it lays. So therefore when I cross check, because I'm not creating like a very strong inversion, when I cross check I should see quite a strong solid parallel line because I'm working quite square. And because my section's just doing this, there's not going to be a lot of curve in the horizontal line. It's going to be quite parallel. But I'm still working on the base style. Thanks for the question, very good question. I think sometimes you can't see, sometimes with the videoing, exactly the way we're directing the hair. It's just really, you know, if you look at my body position, I'm traveling around with the head. So that's kind of my signal that I'm working on the base, my body position, I'm not working static, I'm not over directing. Just comb that down.
And Facebook Live's a great way of sort of picking up some hints and tricks and tips from the experts that are Andy and the rest of the art team that have been producing these looks. But really, you know, if you really want to learn fully how to create these looks and how to learn these techniques, you know, come and see us at our academy. We're here in Covent Garden.
100%.
We've got lots of different courses on all the time, available for not just Rush staff but external people as well if you want to come and learn.
I mean, this would really fit into, you know, what would you use Mimi for a course, you know, cutting hair the Rush way, which is like kind of contemporising our classics. Or, you know, if I pushed it a little bit further, she might fit into more of an inspirational course where, you know, you're showing really elaborate disconnection techniques, head mapping, storytelling, if you like. You know, what I mean by storytelling is kind of our collectional concepts that we're working on throughout the year. But this for me, I'm going to make it look today very wearable, not too far. Clever disconnection, but not too out there. That's the key. I'm going to try and make it look like something, you know, a client could wear this and feel very, very comfortable. My body position now, moving almost in front of Mina, so my elevation's in the correct area.
Well, Tina Poonham joined us as well. She says, good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Tina. How are you today? Busy as always, I can imagine. So now if I start to move the hair around a bit. Now my next mission is to obviously cross-check this area and close this area off if you like. So I'm going to first of all just take my section horizontally. Yes, of course I will. I'll turn around for you, Alex.
I'm just trying to think where best to show.
No,
you
do
guys.
you know what I'll
come
do? Is I'll
over.
turn here.
I was going to come over the top.
Yeah, and I'm going to come over the top anyway, so you can kind of shoot it from the back. Elevate up. A little bit of weight there. Just want to check off. It's a millimetre heavier. So I'm just going to go back in and just check that area. Make sure that I've not over directed too much. Not enough, I mean. Pulled it onto the base. It's literally, look, it is a millimetre. But that's what cross-checking is for. It literally, you use it, make sure that you're checking it, that the house has got foundation and structure.
Apparently Tina's watching from Portugal.
Oh my God, having a good time, I hope. Enjoying the sunshine. Now this area here, once I dry it off, I'm going to work through and just point into it, just to soften some of that interior area at the end, keeping all the strength through the bottom, all the foundation and structure through the bottom. Let me just recheck that now. Coming across horizontally. Perfect. Very nice now. Check and feel my balance. Perfect. So I'm going to literally now dry the area off. Not do too much to it. It's not going to take me long. Obviously you can see the hair's quite fine. This is just so I can start to work through with a bit of point cutting. Now I've got my balance, I'm going to soften the interior shape. Very easy to dry this hair. Just use my hands to relieve a little bit of moisture.
You've already put a bit of product in there as well, haven't you?
I've
Andy,
used
to
a
be
very,
able to prep
very
the
good point there. I started the haircut with using List Control. Now it's my go-to product when I cut hair. It's kind of what I go to when I want to keep my sections clean. I want to retain the moisture within the hair shape. And it just helps me, I don't need to apply the product before I start drying. You can start to see that interior shape as it's drying.
So we've got Mr. Chris Williams joined us as well. He said it's looking good, Andy.
Thank you, Chris. Beautiful colour work by you this morning. Chris came here and coloured Mimi's hair this morning before he went off to work. Done a fantastic job. Just a little fade. If you want to pop it in the box exactly what you've done, Chris, it'd be greatly appreciated. So just start with that. Now I'm just going to go through the hair now and just do a little bit of pointing, just through some of this interior work, mainly through the top area. So we're just going to start to point into the hair and start to work and it literally, I'm not going into it heavily. You don't need to unhair this texture. It really is just as a refining instrument. Just texturizing just those ends, just on the top.
We've got Chris Christos joined us now.
Hey
on
Chris,
the
how
workshop
are
team
you?
members.
Good to hear from you, my friend. Just knocking off a little corner on that top. Just when my elevation needed a little bit more of a lift. That's it, I'm very happy with that now. Perfect. I like this kick that I'm getting. This is kind of how I see the shape in the ends, where it's going to have this kind of, I'm just going to bend the hair and just really give a beautiful finish to the hair. Rather than it being very hairdressery, I'm going to make it very client friendly.
We've got Meg Grace Jasmine Griffiths. She says hi.
Hello, how are you? Very nice of you to join us today. So to just work through some of those mid ends. Beautiful now. I'm going to visually check my balance as well and just feel my shape. Now that's sitting really nice. I actually feel like I can start to close off that area now. Just going to use a bit of surface slicing just through that area there. This is obviously just to create a slightly flatter area, flatten down that shape, but still keep a lot of the foundation. So, start on area 2. It's just going to be my left hand side. Now I'm going to work with an over direction in this area actually. I'm going to work, my first line's going to be here, and then 2 will come to 1, 3 will come to 1, 4 will come to 1, 5 will come to 1. I'm going to over direct stationary. So my first line, I'm going to work in line with my triangular section. I'm going to direct the hair up. I'm going to close this area down. working in a direction, I work it into the back and not follow through. So I'm literally going to just disconnect as I hit that area. Next section, which is going to be section 2, is going to come back and direct to section 1. Keeping, it's going to increase the length towards the hairline, very subtly. Obviously, to make sure that the work is clean, I'm doing it section by section. I'm paying very, very strong attention not to work into the back area.
So you're just dropping out that back section?
Yeah, just dropping it away.
Yeah.
Just dropping it away, Alex. So I don't really want to, I've put this line in already. I don't really want to affect that now. Last but not least, my last section, just over directing back to section 1.
I'll just come around the side, show you guys, and over directing back now. So touching on what Scott said earlier, is asking about whether it incorporated over direction. Obviously through the back of things directed straight out from the section, but on this one to retain the length of the front, over directing back to the first section. I'm really lucky obviously to be here filming, and I get to learn as well at the same time. It's quite nice.
That's worked really nicely. You can see that now. So that's now got my shortest area just where my key point to the parietal ridge is. This area here I'm going to drop over. So this is going to create my movement, if you think of that. So what we've done here is we've closed the back area down and flattened that in. Then we've closed it even higher through this area, and this is going to drop over and fill this hole that we've got here. So when I style it, I'm just going to get lots of movement and lots of fun.
What, Leanne Storer watching?
Hello, Leanne. How are you? My good friend.
And Ronnie Woodward as well.
Yeah. How you doing, guys?
New people tuning in. Any questions that you have, guys, please, pop them in the comments section, and I'll read them out to Andy, and you can answer your questions for you.
Now, for me, guys, my theory behind a lot of this work, I think I like to work very simply. I like to know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going. I don't like to confuse my brain, because I think, when we're hairdressers, it's hard enough job what we do anyway, I think. You know what I mean? It's not... And I think a lot of hairdressers have to make that huge mistake of really overcomplicating things. And you can keep it really simple. And I think that's what I'm trying to do here with this. It's just a very, we're talking about a travelling line here, a stationary line here, and then a square line on the top. It's nothing too complicated. These areas here are going to give us our commercial element, which you'll see in the end. And it really is about, when you're head mapping, what, the placement of your head map is key. Where you mark the shape of. If I put these triangles in a slightly different place, I'm going to get a totally different look. Now I want to balance this up visually with the other side. So first of all, I'm just going to cut my line. It might be a little bit longer to begin with, but at least I won't go too short. I've almost hit it actually. That looks pretty darn good. So now I'm going to stand in front and push the hair from 2 to 1, from 3, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. So we're overextending and over directing to guide 1.
So a question, what is the haircut name?
Oh, I think, Alex, you put it really well earlier. I think, it's for me, it's going to be like a commercial disconnection. It's kind of something I like to come up with different things that we can use in the salon. I'm really into that. I think, we need to look at trends. We need to look at, and we need to keep moving fast all the time. Bang, bang, bang. As hairdressers, I think, for us, we always need to be evolving. You know, collections move really fast. They move like yearly or 2 yearly. But the process when you're actually designing a collection is you're always evolving into the next one. So you're always moving. You know, as hairdressers, we're never standing still. And I think, so I don't name much as far as haircuts go. What I do is do collections and kind of marry collections through, because I think, you know, hairdressing now is just an amalgamation of technique. This is just a disconnection, so we're creating movement and we're working with always shape, which is either, you know, we're following on a round or we're over directing on a triangular, and we just keep it simple like that. But for me, it's just an interior commercial disconnection. I could call it the Mimi. We could do that if you want.
Yeah,
we could name it, which I think is quite cool.
I think that's, you know, you're spot on there, and we don't tend to name haircuts, do we? Name the collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially, this haircut is not a complicated haircut when you're using the fundamental technique.
Yeah.
It's our fundamental technique put together in a slightly different way.
Exactly. It's working so well at the moment. I can see already the way the hair's falling for me, and I can see when I unveil this what it's going to do in this area. And that's what I think it is, guys. I think it's just being that little bit clever about your work. I'm going to make this look really raw in the end. It's going to have this kind of element where it's just really done undone.
So we've got a question from you now.
Yes, please.
I'm not sure how well we'll be able to answer this,
Yep.
but I'll read it out anyway. My mum wants to stop dyeing her hair. It's going grey. I think that's supposed to be rapidly. She's nearly 70. Shush, lol.
Yep.
She ain't one for styling or making an effect on her hair. She's got curls and the bottom she wants to keep. I'm guessing that's a length. What sort of cut would you recommend?
I mean, to be honest with you, we do get a lot of these questions. I mean, for me, it really is about, I've got to see the client before I can recommend a haircut. You know, I've got to actually see the haircut, see her face shape, you know, talk to her. You know, my advice would be, you know, go into a salon, you know, if you're near a rough salon, we give free consultations. See a stylist, have a chat with her, you know. Let the stylist kind of put her at ease, give her some ideas, talk to her about, you know, if she's got curly hair, she doesn't necessarily have to dry it, she just needs a very good haircut and a very good shape. That's the key to any kind of look, I think. Have a really good, solid haircut with lots of foundation and lots of structure, so it holds, it forms into a really clean shape. Yeah, loads of people don't want to do their hair at home, you know. I think that's a given. Lots of people just want easy techniques to dry their hair. If she's got curls, it does make it easier.
So, sorry Meg, she says she can't really hear you guys, but just to kind of recap what Andy was saying, you might be able to hear me a little bit better. Really it's about seeing the client, isn't it, Andy? I mean,
Yeah.
That's what you need to be able to do. You need to be able to see what it is, what the canvas is that you're going to work on, but saying that a lot of people don't necessarily want to be able to style their hair. I'd say that's the most common thing that I hear in the salon. You never hear somebody that says, oh yeah, I'd like to spend 45 minutes each morning styling my hair. That's never ever happened in my entire career.
Exactly.
So I think it is quite a normal thing to expect, is to have something that's very easy to maintain and style. And what Andy was saying there is that it's all about having a very good, strong haircut to be able to help you to be able to style it. Product obviously comes into it as well.
Yeah,
all of our stylists are very, very capable and very good at giving advice on product knowledge, on what things would be good for you to style the hair. Best thing we can recommend is get your mum to go into one of the Rush salons, go and speak to one of our stylists, and they'll do a free consultation, sit and have a nice cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and they'll be able to advise you on what's best to do.
Now, coming to a key point here, within the shape. Now, I'm going to dry off the triangles that I haven't cut, because these are going to be isolated until right at the end. So these are not being connected to the underneath shape.
So Meg asking, are there treatments to have at the salon? Yes, Meg, all our salons stock lots and lots of different treatments, and stylists can recommend what treatment would be best suited to your hair.
Now I've got this panel here that's literally, you can see what that's doing. Just filling that area for me. I'm going to work it in dry. So once I cut the top down, I'm going to kind of scoop these triangles in and work very loose with them.
So Alison, don't worry, I know you just signed in, but don't worry, you haven't missed the cut. There's still a few more sections to go, but you can actually watch these all the way from the beginning. Once we've actually finished doing this Facebook Live, we'll post it back onto the Academy page, where all the other Facebook Lives are, and you can watch it through as many times as you like, pausing, rewinding, fast forwarding, whatever you may need to do. So don't worry if you have missed stuff. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions if you don't.
In a second I can recap it as well.
Exactly.
No problem. So I'm going to now work through the front area. I think this is the area which is going to be my kind of focus, because I think it might distribute what I do with this. I might actually disconnect this from this. I'm not decided yet. So I'm going to start to work a fringe area in. And I'm going to work, Mimi wants a bit of texture, she wants a bit of shortness through the front. So I'm going to start to work by just layering this down. First of all, I'm going to work through the centre. I'm going to take my first, let me just get a really clean section, sorry guys, before I start going through. Through the centre. Just going to work through this line, again paying particular attention to the head stretching, so not using too much tension. I'm going to layer this down onto the front. And layer that right the way through. Now each section, I'm going to work out from the head. I'm going to work it on the base. Following the guideline.
I'm just going to come around the front so you guys can see the direction of where Andy's holding the section as well.
I'm going to halve that away now. Now this will not be connected through to the underneath. The last section. Elevate up into the fringe area.
So for those of you that have just joined us, we're here today in our academy in Covent Garden. We're here every Wednesday around about 11 o'clock-ish. We do a Facebook Live every week, and it's a chance for you guys to be able to watch the techniques that we use at Rush and to get a little bit of an insight into our philosophies. If you are interested in learning any more, then please don't hesitate to ask us questions. First of all, pop them in the comments section, or you can have a little look at our Academy website, and you can actually come and do some courses here. We're open to all sorts of different levels, all different experiences. You can come and learn everything from the very fundamentals of hairdressing all the way through to the more advanced techniques.
Amazing texture. Each section just coming out from the head now. And follow it on the base, no over direction.
I think what's lovely to see about this technique, Andy, is that, you know, even though you're using a very structured line where you're cutting, it creates a very soft texture to
100%.
it.
It's the elevation that I'm applying to the hair, Alex. You know, obviously I'm lifting the hair out from the head. We're layering the fringing, we're not cutting a line. It's being layered into the hair. So therefore you're going to get a lot softer appearance. I am going to be working by leaving this square area slightly longer, fall over, to create the texture. So I'm going to give a little bit of a twist in the balance on the top. Not taking it too short. For the front area, I'm going quite strong. Last section on this side now, elevating up and connecting through. She's got
a question here asking, I think what he's trying to ask is this haircut only suitable for straight, soft hair, or will it work on other hair types as well?
You can do this, I mean, to be honest with you, this is the kind of, this haircut can be done on lots of different textures. It will work great in curly hair, it will work, you know, it really softens it. You see that length when that top comes down, really softens the shape. There's lots of framework inside the shape, but I'm leaving lots of panel work over the top of it. So I'm not going to take this area down too short. I'm going to come through the centre. Now I've got two disconnections. I've got one at the front, it's not going to be connected, one at the back. So I've got this area here and this area here which are not connected. And I've got this area in the middle. So I'm going to now work profile line. I'm going to work square with my layering. I think I'm going to just have a look. The way I'm picking my length here, I'm just feeling the shape. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer possibly than I would have, and then letting it drop and see how that falls. See how that falls in the back and see how it falls in the front. Actually, that works really well. I've actually got that. Yeah, I'm liking that. So each section now, I'm going to work 2 to 1, 3 to 2. So I'm going to work square. So each section is just slight parallel with the section, just over directed to the previous. As you're working your section in half, and you start to work your next section into it. Now I'm not going to work into my triangles that I disconnected yet. I'm going to dry the hair off before I connect them through. So let them drop away. That joins on as the head starts to curve off. I don't think it's going to be a large disconnection, so I think I'm just going to over direct that into it actually. Yeah, it's going to be a very subtle. Yeah, you're not taking too much out of it. So I'm going to connect those triangles, so I've changed my mind. So you're allowed to do that actually when you head map.
The thing is, you've got a structure behind it in the first place, Andy, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've head mapped, you've looked at the head shape, you look at the hair texture. You know, that's what's determining what you're doing there, isn't it?
That's working so nicely. You start to see that. It's really cool. So now the right hand side, exactly the same. I have my central panel. Section come up to the previous.
So Rick Roberts asking a very good question here. Andy, can you explain for my staff who are watching what 1 to 2, 1 to 3 section is? You will explain it better than me. Much
Now,
love.
the number system we work to, Rick, really good question, is if we're doing square, we're over directed to the previous. So in other words, 2 will come to 1, 3 will come to 2, 4 will come to 3. So it will create a parallel square line. So it's just directing to the last one. If I'm directing 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, I'm going to create an area where it starts short and it escalates longer. So we would class that as being more of a triangular shape. So it's working away from the natural head shape completely. So you're getting more of an over direction. And that's our number system. And then around is obviously working 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just working out of the head shape. So you get a round shape. So it's just how we use numbers to determine the direction, the way the hair goes, and what shape we create. At the moment, I'm working square, so I've just skipped my guide there, excuse me, naughty boy. So each section now is just working to the previous, so I'm going to get a parallel square line.
And this is because of the curvature of the head, isn't it, Andy? If you brought it straight out from each section, you're going to get that rounded line.
Exactly.
Whereas if you over direct it to the middle, like you said, you're going to get that triangular line. So we're taking into consideration the curvature of the head to be able to create a square line through the top.
And you've got to be very, very mindful of the way the head curves as well, and the areas that you're working on. Because I think, you know, there's certain parts of the head where it's not, where it's a little bit kind of less obtuse, and then it really rounds off when it starts to hit this area. So you've got to be very mindful of that and over direct slightly more to make sure that you protect your corners. Does that make sense?
We'll get an answer in a little while, hopefully.
It's fine.
So Neil Heather saying, loving the work, Andy, hope you're well.
Oh, thank you, Neil. Hope you're well, mate. So I've cross-checked that. I'm very, very happy. I'm now just going to apply a little bit of product. Make sure that falls up. Oh, that's beautiful, the back. Everything working, you know, quite a strong fringe, but I'm working very commercially here. I'm going to work with Pli today. Pli is our L'Oreal go-to product for when we want to start building a bit of form into the hair. Now obviously it's not going to be hard to blow dry this. I'm just going to blow dry it. Probably put a little bit of a kick with the tongue afterwards.
Tips for blow drying this sort of style, Andy? I mean, what sort of things do you...
For me, I'm just very conscious of what I've done to the haircut. In other words, I've undercut it. So I've undercut it to slim certain areas. So I need to be very aware. I don't want to be putting lots of volume into that area, because that area I'm actually trying to create a flatness. So I would tend to work with more of a Denman brush on those areas, or a comb, and flatten those areas, because that's what I'm after. Now, with these top areas, I can curve slightly more. I can curve that area and give it a little bit of lift. So So I then might start to go to my more round brush and create more of a curve. But be very mindful of the haircut and what I'm trying to do with the haircut. This is what blow dry and what tool I use.
So Neil's asked, can you use this style on curly or beach look hair?
I think it's going to look amazing on curly hair. You know, I think you've always got to be aware of what type of curl you're working with. You know, because if you do this kind of haircut and you slim all the sides and the back down, and you leave all that length on the top, you might end up with a bit of a curly, you know, a bit too much of a curly mullet. So you've got to be really careful and be mindful about what hair you actually put it on.
Rick Roberts said, thanks for explaining to them. He loves the brush.
Thanks. Yeah. It's a great advice, partner. Fantastic. Now, just drying the hair, you can start to see that amalgamation of texture running through the hair. I'm going to put a bit of tension on it now. Curving that hair into the underneath. I'm going to clean that fringe a little bit afterwards, using a bit of defining before I put the texture in the sides. Fantastic colour work this. Face looks unbelievable. Really nice, just seeps really well into the end. Work by just redefining some of the outline through the front. Going too short anywhere, but I kind of like the idea of just opening a face shape a little bit here. Just give a bit of structure. Just gonna onto the head. Resting get a bit of tension in there. Keeping that layered feeling, but just give a tiny bit of definition to the hair. Now just going to literally just hone the hair down now. A little bit of freehand. Not going too harsh with it, keeping it really loose.
Rick Roberts asked, have you been using the charcoal toothpaste? Your teeth are looking white.
Me or the model?
Yeah, I think he's talking about you.
Okay. Yeah, no. No. No, unfortunately not. When I do that, they go a bit too white.
Glow in the dark.
Yeah, they glow in the dark when I do that. So literally just pointing those edges. Keeping it loose, not going harsh with it. She's got that fine hair, so I think in my eyes she needs that little bit of structure to it. Can't just leave it too, just to be raw on the outline. Got to have that little element of power to the frame, if you like. And this is the part, you know, this is our refining part. This is where we're kind of putting in our stamp, if you like. I mean, not everything everyone does they're going to like. I mean, I'm fully aware of that. We go on Facebook, we get, you know, people go, oh my God, what have you done, and all that stuff. But it's, you know, art and hair and creativity is in the eye of what you're doing. It's an art form. It's a creation, if you like. So we're always going to do stuff that's going to get criticised if you're kind of pushing boundaries, or you're, you know, doing stuff that's a little bit fresh. And I take it as a bit of a compliment when, you know, people don't like my stuff, because I think, you know, at least, you know, I'm kind of approaching things in a different way, or something a little bit fresh that is, might be a bit eye-opening or new, if you like. I'm still working with clean and pure technique all the time. I'm not breaking many rules. All I'm doing is using, I think disconnection now is part of our commercial world, if you like, I think, to be honest with you. I don't know how you feel about that, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, one of the main haircuts that I learned when I came to Rush was the Triple C, and it's something that I've used on lots of different clients, and that is very much a commercial sort of look. So disconnection is definitely a tool in the commercial toolbox.
world, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it's here to stay. It's been here for a hell of a long time, and it, you know, as you can see, it's still creating beauty. It's not doing anything that's ugly. I mean, I wouldn't actually do anything on someone that I thought, oh my God, that's going to look really ugly on them. It's not my style at all. You know, it really is. I'm really about putting shapes on. You know, she told me I want the fringe really short. I knew it was going to look good on her, so I go for it. You know, don't think there's any point in holding back. You've got a client that wants something, they want to push it a little bit. You go for it.
Spot on, Andy.
Just working now, just seeing. I don't need to bust this up too much. Keeping the line in it. That's going to keep my form within my shape. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about when I work, I have structure in everything I do. It's not about, you know, being, you know, too far visual. It's always having that element of where you've got that real form in the hair to make sure that the hair grows out really well and perfectly.
And that's really one of our main philosophies, isn't it, Andy? Strength and movement.
Strength and movement, yeah, that's right. I mean, let me explain strength and movement to you. You see the framework I've got underneath the haircut. Strong framework, strong framework, strong framework. Then I've got more of a transient area through the top, overlaying, which is creating our movement and our softness, if you like. So you kind of always work in this approach of a bit of a yin-yang element, where it's kind of masculine, feminine working together, or soft and hard working together. But it's all about creating that structure and then that softness. I'm not someone who likes to, what they call like brain surgery hair. Not into it. Just not into it.
Surgery hair.
Brain surgery hair, you know what it looks like? It's kind of come out of hospital now, just, you know, had an operation. This is, you know, it really is about creating stuff that's beautiful.
Mm.
But pushing it, you know, not holding back.
Absolutely. I mean, Andy, you are our international creative director. You know, you teach our fundamentals and our classic cuts, but also push the boundaries when it comes to creativity.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's brilliant that you put this out there and share this with the industry for people to learn and, you know, push the boundaries a little bit.
I think so. I'm going to blast that through a little bit, just make sure there's no hair in there. Now, I'm not going to tongue like a proper wave in this. I'm just going to put a visual kick through some of the hair. You know, I'm going to keep the top straight, and I'm just going to play with the element of possibly just putting a bend in certain areas. And I'm going to work that really visually, using my GHD wand. And I'm going to go in literally, not at all technically.
Very soft with what you're doing.
Oh, just honestly, it literally is. Just, let's just put, look, a kick.
I mean, there is certainly a technique to this, isn't there, Andy? I mean,
Well,
you're sort of
not
creating
really. If you look at the way I'm working, I'm literally just going to grab the hair, the mid of the hair, just put a bend. You know, so it's just, hopefully, when I put a bit of product in it, going to create that bit of rawness, that's all.
What's great is you've got that plie in there already, which is a great product for that flexible hold and going to give you that foundation.
Bit of foundation, just a bit. And I'm just going to apply at the end. I don't even want to wave in this, that's the truth. I just want to kick. Key to making this look modern for me is making sure the ends are left out. And all it's going to do if anything, is just give me a bit of lift, a bit of plumpness. Like I say, it's not a wave I'm doing, it's literally, that's it. I'm going to blast this through this egg. Like I say, hardly anything. Use a little bit of serum, hardly any, just, and then a bit of beach wave. from L'Oreal, Wild Stylers. Yeah, I like those little bits. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it today anyway. A little bit, I'm going to recap for you guys in a second. And this is just sea salt.
If anybody has any questions, then please don't hesitate to stick them in the comment section before Andy finishes up. I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap, talk you through exactly what he did. But if you have missed any of it, don't worry, we are going to post it on the Academy page afterwards, and you'll be able to watch it all the way from start to finish to see the full technique with this. We don't hide anything with what we're doing here, we're showing you the whole technique. Obviously,
Literally
sometimes
did everything.
everything. If you want to learn more, please don't hesitate to contact us or go on to the Rush Academy website. You can have a little look there to see if there's any courses that will suit you, or have a conversation with us, you know, and ask us what is it that you want to get out of it, because that's really our philosophy with this. You know, it's about what you want to get out of your education as well.
100%. That texture's starting to work now. The beautiful thing about sea salt, you can see that bit of a bend I put on there. It's working. It's giving that sort of a natural feeling to the hair. Now sea salt's a very dusky product, which I like. So it doesn't weigh the hair down, it just gives that bit of plumpness to the shape. First of all, I'd like to thank Mimi for being my model today. She's been fantastic. Nice and still. You stand up for me, Mimi. Okay, so what we did, very simple haircut, just broken down. I worked square section, started off with a square section, isolated a rectangle and then a rectangle through the front. Two small little triangles, which is going to give me my little bit of a lift and a little bit of body through the front, so it makes it a little bit more commercial. Reversed the sides, travelled it through the back, over directed stationary through the sides. So my number system is 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, just over directed, so the length increased towards the hairline. Then layered the front down, layered the fringe down, and then left the middle area long and connected through to the triangles. So it just gives that really nice texture and really touchable feeling to the hair. I hope you guys have enjoyed it today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.